Peter G. Show. Peter G. Show. Divorced dad, single dad. Divorced dad, single dad. Peter G. Show.
Hey everybody, we are back. I'm excited. Welcome to the Peter G. Show. Again, I thank you guys. Can't ever thank you enough because everything is just growing. We have a small crew, but I have a great crew. I have a good bunch of guys that are willing to put in the time to let me do what I felt I need to do in order to help you guys. Take it with a grain of salt. Do what you want to do with it. Call me names or say thank you. I'm good with that. Today, it's kind of weird. I had to do this show. This was a show that I felt had to be done because I went someplace the other day and I can't believe that I just happened to be there. I was brought there for a reason because everything that went down while I was there was specifically for this show. In fact, it took me a while to even believe I sat through what I sat through, and then I turned it into something for this show for you guys to learn from. Again, I'm not a brain surgeon, I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm not a psychologist or a psychotherapist. I just have an opinion and a lot of experience about a lot of hell that I had to go through where I knew everybody is going through, and I just share these experiences, and you can do what you want with the information. It's just my opinion, again. And I get a lot of, some of you people, I know you're watching, and there's a lot of people watching, and the show is growing, and until we take this friggin' thing to TV, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to answer to anybody. So far. One day, I may have to conform, and we're going to have a format. We'll talk about that another time. But right now, I'm doing what I feel, and I'm seeing what sticks. Even some of the stupidest shows I do all have a reason behind them if you listen to it or watch it. Problem I'm having is some people just take a little bit and they skim through it, and then they start calling me names because I'm a chauvinist. I'm a guy. It's a guy show. Number two, it's not a guy show. It's a pro-women and men show about people who give a shit about their children and are trying to keep it together when your head is just ready to explode because of divorce, followed with single parenting. It's hard. It's very hard. And I get it. That's why I'm doing this show. I never thought I'd be doing a show like this. My life was not so bad. And I changed everything because I have a little girl that I completely adore. Blah, blah, blah. You've heard it a million times if you've been watching. If you haven't, I have a little girl that I adore. I stopped everything to make sure she had a daddy. And it's paying off. Kids are wired all differently. Some are harder than others. I've been very, very blessed. But either way, the bottom line is, this is what I'm doing because I found there's so many people going through hell. And I just feel, what the problem with me is I really love people. That's why I was in entertainment. I love people. I have faith in humanity. But I like laughing a lot more than I do crying. Did a lot of laughing. Most of my life I was fortunate enough to laugh. But did a lot of crying too these past 8 years. Can't believe it. It's like, what an evolution of life change. That's why I'm passing this on. So, got something for you. Something that was very deja vu. I'm going to tell you a story about two men. Just happens to be guys, okay? And ladies. Again, we do both. But today is a story about two men because I happened to be at the right place at the right time. And I experienced this. And it was very fascinating to me. Enough to where I'm doing a show about it. So let me just, without further ado, I got a little cheat sheet because I want to keep everything in order. It was good stuff. Stuff that you're all going to relate to. But nonetheless, good stuff. Experience counts for something. First time going through this kind of hell is very devastating. So, let me tell you this story, okay? I didn't feel it was much of a story until the longer I sat there, and then I just felt like, why am I here? Must be a reason. And even when I went home that night, things kept going on to where I go, all right, this is a show. So a couple of Fridays ago, late afternoon, I went to my local Starbucks. Yeah, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not a coffee drinker. I like cold things. But I got to tell you, I experienced a caramel frappuccino about a year ago, and that stuff is addicting. I'm going to be a fat ass because of it. I don't spend a whole lot of time, but it's just nice to get out of the house. Once in a while, I take my computer, I'll go, I have a Starbucks half a mile away from me, and I'll go, because it's a nice little place, and I'll go there and I'll just boot up my computer and just do some work from there and go get one of those frappuccinos, because unfortunately I can suck those things down, and that's not good, but it's nice to get out of the house sometimes and just be there. Well, I went there on a Friday afternoon, which I don't normally do. And so as I'm sitting there, there was a chair to the side of me, a little chair and two tables, and this little girl and this guy, actually this little girl and this guy comes strolling in, and they sit there, and he's like, "Hey, what do you want?" And she wanted this or what that, and it didn't take me but a few minutes to figure out this guy was with this little girl, and they did not live together. And she was probably maybe third grade, I'm guessing. And I'm sure they're probably somewhere within my neighborhood or something like that. But I could tell by the way the guy was talking and sitting, and you're like overdoing. You're uncomfortably trying very hard to make an uncomfortable situation comfortable. So I'm sitting there doing my work, but I couldn't help but hear what was going on, and I can tell that this poor schlup was struggling. I mean, he was trying to be relaxed, but it was pretty unrelaxed. And again, why do I know this? Because I'm the guy who's been there. I've been there, and it just like all of a sudden your hair starts standing up on your arms, and again, it's not easy. It's just not easy. As a separated and divorced father, again, experienced it, been there, done that. My head was just flowing because I could just tell what was going on with him, and your head just starts spinning because I knew what was going on. And the pressure, the anxiety, overthinking, I could tell he was like really trying way too hard. Been there, done that. It sucks. It sucks when you can't be you. You think you're you, but you're not. You're this person, again, male or female. This happened to be a guy, but you're this person, this guy, this girl, and you are just, it's like you're wanting to scream, but you're thankful for what you got, and you're trying to make the best of it, but unfortunately you're not making the best of it. But you're getting through it. That's the key. That's the key thing. You're getting through it. Because Lord knows I wanted to scream many times. It was a fresh separation. I could tell. It's an uphill battle. At that point, when you're going through this mentally, it's a mind screw. But you're just doing the best you know how. You've never done it before. And again, I've said it before. People who have unfortunately gotten divorced a second time, that first time gives you a bunch of experience, and you hopefully do it much better. Not that it's a good thing, but if you got to go through it, God bless you. You're probably able to handle it a lot better. I know, had I known then what I know now, it'd be the same for me too. So he's sitting there and he's talking homeworks, and he's just questioning her, and she's trying to stay connected, but she's diddling with her home books and things like that, and they're doing their thing. But it was, again, I could feel it. I mean, I could just feel it. So eventually the phone rings, and I could tell that it was the ex, and they're trying to communicate on picking up the little girl. And again, this guy is like, he has no place to go. Probably picked her up from school, hanging out for a few hours. What do you do when you really just can't go anywhere enough to get anything started to do anything? That's what really makes you crazy. But you're just kind of like in limbo. You're in this Starbucks. You're hanging out in Starbucks. Free advertising. They're not bad, man. They're just, we've made them who they are. Just wish I had shares in them, but better late, too late. Have to do something else. Starbucks. So we're sitting in Starbucks, and the guy is in there because he doesn't know where to go. I mean, it's very evident, Starbucks. I'm not a Starbucks guy. I don't mind it, but again, I don't really see it. I just go because I love those stupid Frappuccinos. I'm addicted. I have a monkey in my back. So I could tell when he's on the phone, even the phone conversation was stiff, tense, uptight, short-worded, because he's getting ready to give up this little girl. I could feel it. I don't know. A few minutes went by, and the mother comes, or the car came pulling up. The car came pulling up, and that was it. Party's over. Okay? They were there about an hour, hour and a half. Who knows where they were before that. But the bottom line was he's getting ready to go let go of this little girl that probably means the world to him. I mean, why wouldn't it? This is why we're here. It's your child. And he was doing the best he could. But on a scale of 1 to 10, he was down at about a 3, maybe a 2. It was just, you tank. You tank because it's so hard. And it's just too new. So anyway, bottom line is he gives her up. And they leave. I hope for that guy that, and based on my experience, after you go through something like that, on an evening like that, you're making a phone call to somebody. I hope you have somebody close in your life. You're making a phone call to somebody to let this pressure cooker, like, I can't believe this. I don't care if you're just bitching. See, I bitch a lot because it's healthy. I can bitch about things and keep on moving through it. It's not all depressing. It is depressing. Well, I take that back. It's depressing, but there's a difference between people who just go backwards and people who vent and keep on trying to push forward. So more than likely, I hope for this guy, he was making a phone call after he gave up his little girl and had somebody he can vent to, a friend, family, anybody, and just let it all out. Or he went home, and I promise you, and started drinking to try to ease the pain because it's a very sore flesh wound that it just your head just starts spinning. You're giving her up, and you just start thinking, that bitch, that bastard, that this, that. It sucks. Or he went home and called a friend and bitched and drank. It happens. It happens. That's the problem. Again, how do I know this? Guilty. Been there, done that. So they leave, and I continue, and I'm doing my work. Not 10 minutes go by, and all of a sudden, I see another man come in to the place and sit down in that open chair. Well, shortly after he sits down, I see a woman come in with a little girl, and she comes running in, and she yells, "Daddy!" And she comes over to the guy next to me. Now, again, I wasn't thinking a whole lot about this. I just wasn't. I mean, I was listening, but it was like, okay, it happens, whatever. As she came over, the wife or woman or ex, which turned out to be an ex, comes in and she's got a little shopping bag, and it was soon to unfold that this guy had a birthday, and it's his birthday. And so the little girl's there, and she's bringing him a little bag of presents, but as I see it, it's another ex, and they're going, I'm getting ready for round 2 now. I didn't know it at the time, and so another little girl, she's hugging her daddy, and the good thing about this was, it was evident as I kept listening. Again, I wasn't listening on purpose, but when somebody's 2 feet away from you, you can't help it, okay? You just can't help it. I'm working, but they're right there. And as I started listening to them, all of a sudden a light went off in my head. I'm going, okay, time to start taking notes. This can't be happening. What was happening was another man came in, sat next to me. Another woman comes in with a little girl. It ends up being an ex, and it's his birthday, and they're getting ready to do the Friday night exchange. Take that in for a minute. Who's not familiar with a Friday night exchange in a neutral area? Just think about it. Who hasn't been through that? I don't care what night, but the Friday night weekend exchange. Think about it. How many times have you gone through that? How many? Just take that in for a second. The Friday night exchange. Sucks. The good thing is, I could tell that these people were further down the line. Number one, the ex was able to come over, and she actually sat down for a couple of minutes, and they were able to speak to each other. That is a milestone, people. That is a milestone. If you can get to that point, God bless you. Some people can never get to that point. Hi, my name is Peter. I still haven't been to that point. It's 8.5 years now. My ex, again, I try. Enough is enough. You learn, you do the best you can, and whatever happens, happens. The only thing that's important is your child, how she fares through all this. Anyway, we're not here to talk about my thing. The little girl comes in, and it's his birthday. Eventually, after a few minutes, the ex-woman gets up and hugs her little girl goodbye, and she just leaves, and it's peaceful. Upon the little girl, she's kind of excited. The dad gets her something, whatever she wants, and then she wants him to open up his birthday presents. So she hands him a card. That defining moment when you open up this card, and what was it? Naturally, again, this little girl's probably in 3rd grade. It's a hand-colored birthday card. And he reads it out loud. And, if that's not the greatest thing in your life, I have so many years of this stuff that I cherish. Because, they put their heart and soul. They really want to make the best card they could make for you. And it's the greatest thing in the world to you. It's the little things in life. This little girl, that's their way of their love by making you this card. All the I love yous in the world don't mean anything unless you actually mean it. He gives her this card, he reads it out loud, and he hugs her, and then she sits down real quick, and then she reaches into the bag, and she hands him this tissue paper wrapped with some ribbon around it, and take a big guess of what the next present, or what his present is going to be. Take a guess. You're right. He unwraps it. Unwraps the ribbon, cuts it, breaks it, opens up the tissue. It's a picture frame of his little girl with a frame that she kind of hand decorated. They got those frames where you can kind of do those marker paint pens. And it was a customized, personalized, hand decorated frame with a picture of his little girl. My friends, this is the most typical gift that is given from a child, whether you're divorced and or married or whatever. But I got to tell you, it is the greatest gift in the world, and you cherish this stuff for the rest of your life. The problem is, unfortunately, this guy is no longer married to this woman, so that little gift is going to go home, and it's going to be set up someplace on display for a very, very long time. I have years of this stuff. Anything my daughter does for me, I value. Again, how many times can I tell you? I adore this little girl, which is not, she's growing so quick. She called me the other day. She sounded like a woman on the phone. It's getting crazy. I want that little girl back, but you know how it is. So anyway, the years are flying, and that's the way it is. Anyway, so bottom line is, shortly they packed it all up, and he hugged her again and loved it, and they sat, and they packed it up, and they ended up leaving, and it was evident that she was going to spend at least the weekend. This much I do not know about what was going on, but the bottom line was, this gentleman was further down the line, had a better relationship going on, and was getting visitation time with his child. Happened to be a little girl. Whether it's boys, girls, whatever, you know what I mean. This guy was at a different level prior to the first guy. First guy, I can only hope and pray that he will get to the level of the second guy. After that, it is what it is. You do the best you can under any circumstance. So, they left. After they left, my head was just spinning. The thoughts, I couldn't believe I just witnessed two different situations of the same type of stuff. Divorced and single parenting. The different levels. Why was I here to see this? I mean, why? This story isn't about who's right or wrong. I mean, it's about the common stuff. It's about how you get through it. Screw who's right or wrong. That stuff is water under the bridge. It's all about how you keep it together. I can't say it for the millionth time. Keep your head on straight because you have a child that needs to stay intact. It's really easy to rip a little head apart mentally with all the shit that goes down from all the stupidity of us, the adults. So, it's up to you whether you want to have your child come out of this alive or not. And that's why I hope that people pass this on, because it's not easy. And it's easy to just explode. I mean, Lord knows I'm guilty of it. And I mean, I've not done as much damage as some, but I did have my times, and I had to apologize. And I mean, these kids, they take it with them, man. They're not stupid. If you listen to enough of my shows and interviews, I got all kinds of stuff, and you know it. Either way, I just wanted to share this with you. Nobody wins in divorce, okay? So just do the best you can. Remember, it's all about your children. That's the story. Oh, one more thing. So I go home, and I turn on the TV. Now it's about... I know, this is pathetic. It was Friday night, but I had something in the morning, so I was laying low to do for Saturday. But I go home, and I turn on, and I start watching a movie. It's a movie from 1995, and it ends up being about divorce and single parenting. 3 guys handling, and believe me, what was the name of the movie? Bye Bye Love, 1995. It's about these 3 guys. And one's an idiot, and he's bringing women home, and the kids witness it, and one's frustrated and just breaking things because he's had enough, and one guy is, kind of normal. He's doing the best he can, and at least they're on talking terms. It was all these, again, 3 friends, different levels, sharing the same experience about at the same time. So they had each other to bounce things off of. And I'm going, this just doesn't happen. How do you get... I go out to sit for a little while, and all of a sudden I'm experiencing this whole thing. So I'm bringing this experience to you guys. I hope you get something out of it. I hope you can relate to it. Here at the Peter G. Show, everybody's working very hard to make things happen for you guys in order for you to have a better life, because life is short. Your life clock is ticking. I'm at an age now where people are dying a lot. And I don't want to be this bummer, but I'm a realist, okay? Again, there's a difference between being, just a downer. I can talk about things and keep on moving forward, but let's face it, folks, as you get older, we're not as bulletproof. I want to live to see my daughter grow. I want to be very old. I hope I can be healthy enough to watch her become an old adult like I was. I was lucky enough to be 54 years old. My mother passed away almost a year ago at 93. And it still wasn't enough. It hurts because I wanted her around. Even though it was what it was, I was just so fortunate to be this old and still have parents. Still have a father. And by the way, getting ready to be... probably by the time you're watching this, we're already taking the summer off, and I'll be tearing up the Gulf Coast, where there's going to be a lot of stuff going on down there. Hopefully I can get a couple of interviews and some things from the Gulf of Mexico, Northwest Florida. I love being down there. It's beautiful, and I'm taking my daughter down, as we always do, and we're going to spend the whole summer down there, and I'm going to mess some stuff up down there. I promise you. I have too many friends doing a few interviews down there while I'm there on some other networks as well. But very, very thankful. So again, I want to hear from you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Quit being so damn watchy and not participating. Let me know you're there. I know you're there, but let's hear it. Let other people know you're there. Say something. That's all I can tell you. View your opinion. I don't care if you want to tell me something bad. You hate me? Whatever. It's all good. You love me? Great. I love you too. So, getting ready to wrap it up. Again, hope you learned something from this. I just had to share it with you, and I just felt I needed to be here and do this because it doesn't happen. It hasn't happened ever before. Who knows when it'll happen like that again, but Love your kids. Love your children. I'm Peter G. You're watching The Peter G Show. I love you guys. Can't wait to talk to you again. Peace out.
Peter G Show.